Madison Fitzpatrick with Rogers TDV, and today we're here with Rico Phillips, who is the Director of Cultural Diversity and Inclusion with the OHL. We're so lucky to have you here, Rocco. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. So we'll just start off with telling us a little bit about your role at the OHL.
Sure. As the Director of Cultural Diversity and Inclusion, my role is vast. By that I mean that I work with everyone from the hockey player to the executive level, business operations, to the fans themselves. And so when people say, well, what do you do? Well, if I'm talking about working with players, one of the things my role would do is to have what I call courageous conversations with players. We're talking about the dynamics of society today, some of the tougher things that maybe they haven't even thought about as far as what they say and how they say what and who they are as people. Like when you look across the locker room, in any given locker room, my goal is to help everyone understand each other as people first, right? And within their own cultures, where they come from. And so it's everything from, of course, different races, but certain ethnicities. And if we have European players, we also like to make sure that they are very comfortable with who they are and where they're from. So, and then when it goes on to the broader levels, it's from creating an inclusive environment for fans. So they understand that when they come and watch a game in the Ontario Hockey League, that everyone is welcome and they feel welcome no matter what their walk of life is. And so, and then the other piece that's really important is in our business operations and making sure that diversity leads to inclusivity. In other words, the people that are hired, the people in roles in different positions within the Ontario Hockey League member teams, that they reflect the communities that they serve.
Absolutely. So, Rico, when you got this position in 2020, what was some of the things that you noticed that needed to be changed right away when you got this role?
Well, one of the first things is to create a better system for communicating about our differences. So it was the simple things like in the past, there was a policy that's been in place for quite some time. This policy would just be transferred to the players, expected for them to read and understand and comprehend and abide by. When it's actually, in my opinion, something that's much more involved in just handing it, the document to folks, especially 16 to 20-year-olds, and expecting them to realize what this really meant. So it was an educational role that I first served, and emphasis that I first served was to educate our players and everyone else from the top down about what diversity actually means and how we can strive for inclusivity.
Amazing. So, Rico, we don't want to take up too much of your time. We're super honored that you are able to speak with us today. But just one last question for you. What do you have envisioned for the OHL for the next 5 years? What are the goals?
Well, there's the first goal is to enhance the current diversity policy that's in place, diversity and inclusion policy that's in place, so that it's brought up a little bit more to what we're speaking about today. It was initially drafted in 2003, so obviously it's been a bit of time that's gone by. So that's the first thing, and what we're going to include in that is a portion for a person that finds himself as a victim. Also, if the perpetrator is a player, then there's support for that person to help them, to help educate them and learn, because it isn't, we know that between 16 and 20 that mistakes will be made, and we hope that we are encouraging them not to make the mistakes, but if they do, we want to make sure that we don't just send that person out on their ear unless whatever they've done, suggests that they should. But also, if we want to make sure that we have a reporting system so that it's anonymous, as many people understand that when players are in major junior hockey, their concern is for their futures. And a lot of times, if something goes awry, they just assume keep it to themselves because they worry about what that may appear, the optics of something like that, as maybe being a troublemaker, or maybe being someone that isn't a team player. So we had to make sure that we set up a system so that our players feel comfortable reaching out if something goes the wrong direction, and understanding that our support is for them as a person before them as a player.
Well, Rico, thank you so much for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure having you on. As you know, here at Rogers TV, inclusion and diversity is important to us as well. So for our viewers who want to know more and want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
If you need any more information, feel free to reach out to us at the Ontario Hockey League, and I personally will answer any questions to help you understand what diversity inclusion in hockey really means.
Well, again, thank you so much for being here today. Until next time.